Yall Show, talk with a Southern accent with John Rawl. So good to have you back here. We need some positive momentum. We need something happy to talk about, and that's what we're going to do right now on the show that covers everything Southern, because we're going to bring back our Southern storyteller, Jerry Short, onto the program. And Jerry is our Toccopola storyteller, and he's on right now to talk about what's going on in Toccopola, USA, and more. And we're going to make everybody happy by bringing on our Toccopola storyteller. Hello, Jerry. How you doing, sir?
Man, I tell you what, any better, I couldn't hardly stand it. But it
I
needs to
know.
get better.
I know. Things definitely could be a little better and get a little better as well, Jerry. You're looking good, and that's the subject of our discussion today. Man,
Man, I'm
Jerry.
still gaining weight. I got a good haircut today, though.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about, Jerry, because I just happened to be
Look at that.
hanging out with you earlier in the day when you got a haircut. And as I said, we all need a little positive momentum. We need something happy to talk about. And your haircut was the ultimate Southern kindness. Your haircut would not have happened if not for
Hey,
Toccopola.
local, a lot of
Toccopola comes through.
uh, someone who was familiar with the countryside of me. They came through. I bragged about being just an old country boy, and had gone into a beauty salon that we call barbershops back in the country. But I'd gone into one. It was so high tech that I thought I was at Cape Canaveral, and I was making a point of that. And I guess this old boy, he had been from that area at one time or another. And when I went to get my hair cut, a lady, which I'm not that used to having cut my hair, which did a fine job with what she had to work with, got back there and she said, "You're taken care of. You get the full works. You get it all. You get a massage. You get a shampoo. You get the hot towel across the face, uh, and we can lower those ears to wherever you point to." So we did all that, and I still didn't know who had set me up. I thought I had like a Marilyn Monroe secret admirer somewhere, but I still don't know. Maybe so, maybe not. That
Jerry, but before you keep talking about such a kind gesture, just if you don't mind, turn to the left, turn to the right. Let's get a good full kind of view of
uh,
your fancy haircut. There, yeah,
well,
that's
you
good.
see, it's there.
Uh huh.
Can't see all those white hairs.
What are you doing there just above your ear to get it that kind of grayish color? What are you adding to that? What kind of product is that?
That's called age.
Okay,
Yeah, we we put that in a little bit more every year, and it comes kind of natural. It's
I
in a
see.
bottle of like Arkansas used to be the natural state.
Mm,
Well, my head's the natural head. I'm still way ahead of the area probably of my age group though. Look at this. Now look at that. See, now that's pretty dark there.
yeah, but you got a nice shampoo today. Like I said,
She
somebody,
did.
and we're not joking on this, a complete
No,
stranger that you had met because you had mentioned something about Toccopola. You don't even know this guy's name, and it was a
and I'm
guy. Just so you
I
don't get
know
in trouble when you get home, it was a gentleman from
that's right.
who knew where Toccopola
And
was. He
if
he bought your haircut.
he did, and if he's out there in radio or TV land, I want to thank him
It wasn't
for.
me. It was not me.
I know, and you're the one that I thought it was. I thought it was you, and
It really
I
confused me.
I said, "What are they trying to make a sissy out of me?" She had me lay back like I was in a trough down at the barn, and put my head in the trough, and then put stuff all over the top of it. I guess it was. I would have used Tide detergent, but I think she used something a little softer. And I said, and then she started in with this massage, uh, massaging situation. And I thought they did that by hand, but evidently you uptown people now, y'all got a machine that goes around your hand and put it on your body, and man, it does a good job. So I may, I may, I may get in my billfold and try to do one more sometime down the road myself because it really worked out good. But I would, if I could find that gentleman, I would really. Coincidentally, we had common people we knew in a few other towns in North Mississippi. So we had a good conversation, and I don't know if he could just look at me and felt sorry for me that I looked like somebody needed on a stimulus package or not, but he must have known I wasn't on it, so he took care of me. And thank you, pal.
Again, a complete stranger giving you not just a haircut, but the works where you
Go
got
work.
you walked in. I saw you before you went in there. You look nasty.
I was
You,
ragged.
I don't know the last time you'd had a shower, but my goodness, you look pretty
Well,
rough.
sometime last week, but yeah, you know, I mean, it's not Sunday yet,
Yeah.
so or Friday. It's Friday night, so I may not have to skip it. I got a good head, so I'll let the feet wait.
Now you did
Extra.
bring up something. We like to talk about the old days here when we have our Toccopola Storyteller, Jerry Short, here on the Y'all Show. You saw our number, 803-816-1170, if you want to reach out to us with a question or comment. We'd love to hear from you here on the show that covers everything Southern, including our Toccopola Storyteller. You mentioned about getting your bath like once a week, and that brought
Right.
back a memory from my own childhood where my dearly departed grandmother, only one of the two, but she had, one of the two that I know did this, but I'm sure this is fairly common. She only got a bath once a week. She washed her hair every day or did
All the
something,
time.
but she only washed her body
A
once a week
full
in the
body.
bathtub. Wasn't that the norm, or is that still the norm?
Well, that was the norm in one side of my family.
Okay.
The other side of my family, you would have thought it was today modern. But in my other side of the family, we had to draw the water out of the well.
Mm.
We had to heat the water in a black pot. You know, I had to bring firewood and I had to bring coal, and we had to get the water hot, and then take a bucket in and put it in a say about a 10-gallon bucket, I guess, or I mean as a 20-gallon bucket, and that was your bath. It was so. If you ever watch these old movies, these old westerns, it reminds me of a lot of those days when I was that age. That maybe Kirk Douglas goes in and he's been out riding on the trail, and they give him one of those good baths, and he sits down in that tub and rubs a little lye soap maybe that we made outside. But we did live like that, and grandmother's. My grandmother was a lot of Cherokee. I don't know exactly how much, but she had hair down to her ankles, and every night she would wash that hair, and she would comb it out. But the bath didn't come till later. 4 or 5 days later came the bath, and it was just too inconvenient, especially in the wintertime. It was almost impossible. I mean, it was cold, and it's just the rooms were cold. We had a heater in the front room. And I'm talking 50s, but
Mm.
they had lived like that for 40s, 30s, 20s, turn of the century, 18s, 80s, and 90s. So they were pretty well used to it.
And
I
Jerry,
was.
let me actually defend one of my grandmothers again,
Okay.
dearly departed grandmother Granny. I'm sorry, I actually got you a little confused with my other grandma, and
Uh,
I'm sure, and I'm only bringing this up because I bet you it's pretty commonplace, if not the norm, for the ladies of yesteryear. But I don't think most women in the old days washed their hair, maybe ever. They waited until the weekend and they went to the beauty parlor, and that was the only time they got their hair washed.
that was
Does that sound familiar?
that's my mother's side of the
Okay.
family, and it'd be the little pink-headed ladies that the hair was getting mighty thin, and they would go get they'd go get that fixed at the beauty parlor,
Once a
and they'd
week.
come back and it'd be a little bit tinted looking. I don't know if they put tin in it or what, but that was a whole different world on that side of my family, and they were more urban type, and the other side was more country type,
Kind of
and
like
so
you.
it was a different world.
Hmm.
It really was, but it was
Uh,
good. It was good.
yeah, and just because we started talking about hair today, and we love talking about the yesteryear stories with
I
you.
love it.
A lot of people can connect to the way, especially ladies. I feel sorry for the ladies of the world.
I don't know
I
how
guess
they made it.
they didn't know any different at the time, and so they were perfectly fine with that
That's right.
once a week getting their hair shampooed and then fixed up real nice and neat. And while we're talking about bathing habits, going back to the 50s and 60s, what was the norm for working men at that time, Jerry?
Well, working men, a haircut was about 15 to 25 cents. And most people kept their hair pretty short. I know I
What
did as a
about
youth.
bathing? What about bathing?
Bathing, if I was over at my grandparents on that side, the countryside, uh, bathing wasn't near as required as it was on the other side.
Oh.
Now, the other side, we had the old cloth feet bathtubs, those little big white ones you've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And you could sink down almost like a swimming pool. Now, you could get a really good bath in those. And no showers. Boy, did I want a shower. But we finally got a shower at Toccopola, and it consisted of a built-in area on the end of the porch where our well was that we drew water. And we put a metal milk can, about a, I don't know, I imagine those things had 20 gallons or 25 gallons. Put it up on top, would draw water, and have somebody pour water in that, and you would have nail holes punched in it. And you could go get underneath it and take that cold bath. But that was the country bath. So, you had country baths, you had city baths, you had upper class baths, and you had all kinds. So,
and those country
it just
baths,
depends on where you are.
Did I hear you say, because if you didn't, I know it brought back a memory of me, my one grandmother did give me those country style baths, and that means she didn't have hot water. So
No hot water.
She had to cook some hot water on the stove and then
You
dump
put
it
it
into
on that wood burning stove, on that black pot,
mm-hmm.
and heated that water up, and then would mix it. Usually they would wash your feet first. It seemed like the easiest thing to do. And they would mix it to get that temperature right, And you do that, and you throw that away. It would be in a kind of a wash bowl like And you would do that. And then last thing you do, usually because you'd have fresh water, you'd draw fresh water, and you'd wash your hair. And if I spent a week with them, I probably would end up with 2.5 of those baths, whatever that half means. That meant that was a spit bath probably, but it's eventually called it. But no, it was a different world, and it was a lot of things that went on different then, and I don't begrudge you one of them. Looking back on them, like you said earlier, I think I heard you say, "Heck, you didn't know anything different." That was the way it was. Mm-hmm. And when it's the way it was, it's the way it is. So we went with it, and we were all content people, and ready to go to the field the next day.
Well, we've heard in the last 2 months a word keep popping up a lot called privilege, and
oh mercy.
I want to just quickly, as we wrap up bathing conversation with our Toccopola Storyteller, it wasn't until 2 weeks ago when I was visiting my parents that I actually discovered that the entire time my mother was being raised from childhood until she got married and moved away, that side of my family, my mother did not grow up with indoor plumbing. And this would have been in the 1950s and 60s.
So you found out what I had.
But I didn't know. I knew she had some of it. I didn't realize that was all she had her entire childhood. Yeah. So when we talk about some people having the idea that some of us are privileged, when I find out that my own mother grew up in a house without indoor plumbing in the 1950s and 60s.
No telephone either, buddy.
No, absolutely. I knew they didn't have a telephone because my dad had to, when he courted her, had to have a message relayed or something. It was really, honestly, I think she's just like a lot of women. I don't think she would have paid my dad any attention had he not had a new car.
That's right. A car would get you a girl. Because I got a few girls with a few cars.
Yeah.
Thank goodness,
Thank goodness for new cars, or else I wouldn't be here.
I know. A car would go further then. And I'm not talking about per mile a gallon or anything.
I've been wondering why my middle name was Pontiac, John Pontiac Rawle here.
Yeah.
Jerry,
think
anything else you need to get off your chest before we say goodbye to you? And thank you again for coming on today.
No, I'm just glad that you brought up some of that old memories. You know, one of these days we got time, I'll tell you when they made me go down and learn how to milk a cow. And, you know, a lot of that stuff is stuff you don't want to forget. And don't ever be ashamed of it, because that's what got you where you are. And without that, I think I learned as much doing some of that as I did in chemistry class at Harvard when I was at Harvard.
Oh, you went to Harvard. Great.
Well, I don't know if it's Harvard, but it was Harvard. It was local Harvard.
Yeah. Jerry, thank you. Great to see you again. And again, give me a left shot and a right profile of that beautiful haircut you got there.
How's that look, man?
Oh man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. You know, Trump often shows off that he's got real hair, so
Yeah.
you and the president have something in common. Everybody,
I want Indian wrestling now.
yeah, our man, Jerry Short here, the Toccopola Storyteller. We'll catch up with you later, and
right.
we appreciate everybody for being on here on the Y'all Show. We'll wrap up our conversation now, and we'll see you on the other side of this, the show that covers all things Southern, on the website that is the ultimate guide to the South, Yall.com.